workforce housing. It's not, we're not doing $1 million houses. Next. Keep going. I think we can get past all the boring plotted stuff. Oh, these are just better pictures. That's the tap room, before and after. Go ahead. That's the interior. So the one on the left was the interior, what it was, and the one on the right is what it is now. Keep going. Sardine bar, that was the front before. That's the front now. That's the side of it. That's the one that had the 238 documented police incidents. The same with the next one. That red one was the bar. And I remember when I walked in, there was a handwritten sign on the mirror and it said, "Positively no weapons or drugs allowed."
But you don't want to go.
I had to state that. And that's the rear lot that I used to clean up the pit bulls on. And now it's a backyard beer garden. It's busy all the time. There's the upstairs. I think that was some sort of a gambling room because there was a room with like bars on it. You couldn't get in. Now it's upstairs space where we hold political fundraisers, like Democratic presidential candidate.
Yeah, I wanted to be there too.
That's Martin O'Malley, who just dropped out of the presidential race yesterday. It's alright, keep going. This is just news articles and stuff, and you know, just this is the Bruno Brothers building. This one I'm really proud of because it was abandoned for 27 years and it was a disaster, and now it's a very, very popular shop. Keep going. Oh, this one was very controversial. So, see that lot right there? We cleaned up 40 or 50 Magnum 357 shell casings, drug needles, carburetors, diapers, you name it. It was on that lot. It was one of the scariest parts of the whole city. You see that trailer right there with graffiti all over it. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster, right? That area. Next slide. No, next one. Go down a little. Okay. Well, there's that same. There's that same lot, cleaned up with a trailer now packed out with taps on the side. We probably ran 10,000 people through there this summer. Pop-up beer garden. The neighbors loved it. The neighbors who lived around it adored it. They loved it.
Tell everybody what it is.
So, thanks to guys like Chuck McElhaney, if you have a liquor license, you can get an off-premise catering permit. So if your daughter wants to get married in your yard, right, and you want to have your favorite restaurant catering with beer and wine and food, they can do that by virtue of this off-premise catering license. It was specifically written so that the municipality could not intervene. So if your neighbor hates you because you ran over their cat and killed it 2 years ago, and they hate you, and they're not going to let you have your daughter's wedding under any circumstances, they can't do anything about it, right? That's the way it was written. So we pool our liquor licenses together and our allowable catering permits. And we do these things called off-premise catering.
This is state law you're talking.
State law, which supersedes any municipality. $60,000 is public. So, $60,000 is legal fee. So anyway, so we opened up this pop-up beer garden. On this disastrous lot, we operated as a pop-up beer garden Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have food trucks, we have craft beer, we have programming, art, crafts things, and like fundraisers for the local community group, and flea markets, and all kinds of neat programming stuff. The neighbors absolutely loved it, right? Yet, the city tried to rewrite state law and close us down, saying that our zoning wasn't appropriate. We said, either was the 8,000 ones that you didn't try to close down. It's, state law says it doesn't have to be zoned a specific way. So all summer long, they fought us and we sued them, they sued us back, and we won in court, and then they appealed it and we won again. So now they're appealing to state court, but whatever. It was a very, very controversial thing because the city had a terrible L&I director who's been terminated since then. But they were trying to rewrite state law, and we were just using the state law for absolute revitalization efforts, right? This couldn't happen if we weren't allowed to do those catering.
What's the underlying lot?
I do.
Okay.
I bought it.
What was the objection to all these?
So in Philadelphia, gentrification is a hot topic, and you know, one two neighbors that are opposed to it philosophically. They just don't want new people in the area, right? They go run to their state rep. In our particular instance, we had a terribly weak green state rep by the name of Jordan Harris in an election year trying to placate the 3 activists. That's it.
We need 4 in this.
That's the biggest problem. And in Philadelphia, RCOs, it's easy to form an RCO.
We have an EDC.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, so, but the problem is, if you're 3 people that hate, that are gonna oppose anything, like for example, the people that oppose this, flat out told me, if I build anything other than a rec center, a hospital, or a school, they're gonna oppose it. Well, I said, well, that's what Jordan Harris is supposed to be building, rec centers, hospitals, schools, right? So guys like me, my coffee shop is not creating gentrification. My coffee shop, my beer garden isn't bringing 100,000 of new residents to the city. Comcast building giant towers is, right? And that's good, it's good because we're living in a city. Philadelphia had 2.2 million people, went down to 1.4. Now it's creeping back up to 1.6, right? That 1.6 is not because of my coffee shop, my beer garden, right? It just isn't. So philosophically, we're on different pages.
Is it open certain times of the year?
Oh yeah, it's only open from 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 3 days a week during the summer.
I need to jump in there too, because that law, I did write that law, but it was not runaway alcohol on city parks, anytime you want to party. They still have to abide by their liquor license. It's under their liquor license. So if they're a nuisance, they get shut down. LCE comes in, shuts them down. You know, so it's not just this runaway, you know, Grateful Dead concert coming into your area and weekend. So I need to clarify that there were a lot of rules around this that they, as licensees and liquor license holders, know how to abide by and continue to abide by in these pop-up beer gardens.
Yeah, for example, we had to have, we didn't need, but we got RCO approval, councilman approval. We had to get Board of Health approval. We had to get state police approval. We had to get LCV approval. We got all those approvals. And if there's a single violation, we can shut down. It's just that the city can't shut you down for no reason, which is what they were trying to do.
Is this on private land or can it
Private
be,
land.
or can it be on like borough-owned land?
I think it could be on borough land if you have approval.
It can be on any land. It's their off-cater permit. So he happened to own this property, but if I owned it, I could lease it to him, he could do it. They could go to your house, and if the borough wanted to have a pop-up beer garden, then you would need a licensee. Has to be in the county though, right? It has to be an in-county licensee qualified to go.
It doesn't have to be right in your borough, it can be in the county.
Yeah, anywhere in the county you can.
What if there are deeds restricting alcohol in certain places?
Well, then that would supersede that. Yeah, you mean a dry town?
I think our park is dry.
Then you would have to change that ordinance in order
It's
to.
not an ordinance.
And I think it would probably supersede that ability. Yeah.
Oh, we have other ways.
Yeah, there's plenty of places to do it. In fact, you should get a couple of your licensees to do an outside festival or two, just to bring new people, new population, create, you know.
Is there, you probably learned this, Senator, is there different types of licensing when it comes to like a craft brewery as compared to like a regular one? I was wondering what did they say, the amount of brewing, is it?
No, it's a G brewing license. You can call them, that's a marketing term, craft brewery. So you get Yingling is a G license and the Chamonix Creek is a G brewery license. There are brew pub licenses that are a little bit different of what you can do, but a brewery license is just a G, so we call it a G brewery license.
People ask that and I go,
Next slide. That's Rachel's Pantry. That's what was on that block with 37 auto repair guys, and that was a cigarette vending warehouse. The actual picture of it's in the lower right-hand corner of what it was. Now it's a very popular vegan restaurant. Next slide. And that's Renewbold. That's from one of the decks. That was a former Brownsfield site. I mean, that was a Pennsylvania Superfund site, which meant it was as politically contaminated as you could get, right? We'd have, did I say that?
You said politically contaminated.
Same thing. I was thinking about that same
Same thing.
Like, we we had air monitoring out there when we were taking the music.
Did you clean the site?
Yeah, oh, yeah. We backfilled it with clean fill and all the testing, I mean, but it's no longer super complicated. Next. That's the roof, but, you know. And again, this is like, okay, so that was a chemically contaminated lot. You see those skyscrapers in the background? Well, they didn't just get built, you know, they were always there. So it's just a better use of an existing structure, utilizing existing economic criteria. I mean, it's just, that's all it is. Next. And you guys have that, your river's not going anywhere. Next, you guys just saw just this new stuff. This is a custom house we built out of one of those warehouses. Keep going. Okay, so this is an example of workforce housing, right? So that house on the left, believe it or not, that's what it looked like. We didn't demo it, that's what it looked like. We turned it into that. It was $169,000, right? You can walk to Center City from that house for $169,000. It's workforce housing. Next. This is Atlantic City. This is some of the larger things we're doing, but Atlantic City is not unlike what you guys are doing. In Atlantic City, we're doing stuff based on where that water is. That's really what you guys should be doing. That's pretty much it. The rest of it's just pictures of bigger projects we're doing. Most of the talk that I was gonna do, we went through before the slides came up. So, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Tell me what the municipality do to enhance and to draw people like you. Would streetscape, physical improvements to the police corridor be a use?
Yes. Anything that you can do to enhance walking communities, right? So like crosswalks, for example, street lighting. Anything that municipalities can do from that perspective to aid it, to make it cleaner and safer, is just going to make it easier for a private investor to come in. But I would say the single most important thing is to streamline the process for them to accomplish what they're trying to do, right? Rendell, one of the smartest things he ever did was he created something called the Mayor's Business Action Team, right? And all they did was handle anything small businesses needed to remain in the city, to come to the city, because, you know, it's an arduous process to get a business privilege license and a BERT tax, and, you know, it's the highest tax municipality in the United States of America. So anything that this business action team did, it was like a customer service team for business, right? Now, you guys aren't going to be able to create this division, but I would say anything that your local municipal group could do to streamline any processes for investors, particularly in zoning or you know, anything that requires red tape, do it. Make it easier for them, because they will come. They will come. People are scared away from Point Breeze because they would come down, they get protested at their zoning hearing, it would get continued, they're like, forget it, we're out, right? Make it easy for it to happen, and then they'll come.
Is your company, have you looked at any development in this town yet?
We have not.
Could you?
I don't think we sure we would, but
I
we
want
are.
to see you drive up from Philly after closing a sardine bar to close up the bar.
Well, we got
I want to take you to get
we're in
here.
Baltimore and Atlantic City now, so it's, you know, we're in different places. But yeah, we would do it. I mean, if it falls within our umbrella of what we do, we only do revitalization. Philosophically, that's all we want to do, because we're not for-profit developers, we're not pro forma, cap-driven guys. If we were, it'd be a lot easier, but we're not. So it's much, much, much harder.
I mean, I know our town's not in the shape of these areas that you guys are in. We've talked to I've talked to people, but the brewery thing is a hot topic. I mean, I'll travel 20 miles, 30 miles to go to a new brewery. I'll go again if it's good. They're a destination
Exactly.
type of thing. But as far as, you know, what this town has, and someone said earlier, we don't have tons of boarded up houses. We don't have violent crime. We have our ills, but I mean, I don't know if our town meets your
Right.
your
It
company
might not.
criteria, like, you know, I don't know if it's what you guys look at.
It might not, but that's why I said, define your immediate course of action, like what you want to do. This is the area we want to improve, this is how we want to improve, and this is why, right? Once you know what you want, what you're really truly looking to do, then you can start calling guys like me and a host of other developers and say, hey, we have this piece, this brewery piece, you know. But you gotta really figure out what you wanna do first. Is it housing, is it residential, is it a commercial strip, is it, you know, I don't know.
Well, I think we need what you talk about. We need to be a reason why people wanna stay here, come here, live here, and spend their money. You know, smoke shops, vape shops,
Yeah.
no one really, that's not what draws people in for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours in a day, drops money.
You're right.
So,
Vape shops are a disaster.
yeah,
Most community groups are opposed them until they do.
yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes with the zoning uses, they're just permitted as right.
I like the slides that you showed of Point Breeze and all. I'm very familiar with Point Breeze. I'm wondering if your diamond affected the rest of the neighborhood, because I know the neighborhood in Point Breeze is not the best place to be.
You're right. It's getting better and better. So it's 10 times better now than it was 4 years ago.
Okay.
Right? But Point Breeze is very unique in that you could do market rate residential development for 10 years and still not be on an even
Yeah.
keel.
Yeah.
There's so much abandonedness. There's empty lots everywhere.
Right.
That's why that other section of Point Breeze that we called renewable was totally different. It was dense population, but it was like non-conforming landlords, no investment, no cigar. Point Breeze was a disaster. That's why we were the first sit-down restaurant in 50 years in Point Breeze.
Right.
Now, there's a bunch of them. There's new housing all over the place that we didn't do. You know, we just saw the economic benefit of being able to do this stuff here in a recalibrated market, and then it kind of infilled around us. But yeah, Point Breeze, crime is down drastically. The 17th Police District,
Yep.
can't even believe the reduction in crime. In fact, when we opened the bar, the police captain, who was great, his name's Captain Washington, wrote a letter to the LCB, to the governor, to the DA, to the mayor, and to the council person, saying, do not let them open under any circumstances. It's the biggest drug corner in the world. The last thing we need is another bar here. Please, please, please do not let them open. 1 year later, he wrote all those people there saying, please allow them to expand into the backyard. Best thing that's happened in this neighborhood. There's zero crime now.
Have you done anything in Fishtown?
No, Fishtown, I think it's over. It's already
Is it?
over.
It's already
Yeah,
passed?
when you have limos going outside at Frankfurt Hall with Jersey chicks getting out of it on a Saturday night and bachelor parties, all right, that doesn't need us.
All right.
So I have a question. How beneficial, or is it beneficial to someone like you, a developer, for a borough to have a concise listing or information plan of what amenities are already in place and what they have to offer? How beneficial is that to a
So it
developer?
depends, right? Like, Camden has created the greatest plan of all time. And I see it, I'm like, wow, this is amazing, but I still won't go to Camden. Because I just know the political unrest, it's just, I know the state takeover is constantly looming, it's just, I wouldn't touch it. But I guess to like, people that don't have as clearly defined a mission as we do, and don't, like, we're a little bit different in that everything we do is based on economic criteria, and, you know, we have a very, very specific focus. But that's not who you're gonna get here. You're gonna get a guy that wants to make money, right? And if you can prove that they can make money here, they'll come. So any information you could give them at all to substantiate that they will be able to make money, that's what you need to do. So, do I think you have to have something that says, oh, the buying power index is 18.6%? No, because they probably won't understand that. But you should have things that say we have a very streamlined municipal process. We know, for example, that this building can be had for a song. There's major street improvements coming here. There's, you know, dollars coming from here. Like anything that you have that is positive, you should have it, be ready to give it to them.
And have it in a package?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I went to college at Monmouth University, which is pretty close to Asbury Park. I think Asbury Park is a really good example if you guys want to take a look at a town that was at once great. It got down, and the city started revitalizing the area. They brought a couple restaurants into the area. They hosted some festivals and some concerts, and it brought a lot of people there. And now people want to go spend time. They don't just want to drive real fast to get to the next town. So I think that's another example of.
So I go to Asbury all the time.
Yeah.
I was there a couple weeks ago, and it is remarkable. 10 years ago, it was very much like Point Breeze. Now, it's Stone Harbor. I mean, it is fantastic. And I'm talking about the section off the beach where all those shops are completely revitalized. I'm talking some of the hippest, coolest, most creative stuff around. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. And their municipality did a ton of streetscaping, a ton of like crosswalk type of stuff to kind of enhance that, make that experience nicer, to attract people. And I'll tell you, man, it is next level. It is really, really nice. You're totally spot on with that.
Just a quick question regarding the neighborhood where you talked about the auto shops. Were they shops that were already in business that you bought out?
Oh yeah, they were in business forever. We were buying them as that, the one where we put the brewery, he retired, so we grabbed them. Another one, a guy bought a new shop in Manioc, so we grabbed that. One was a guy who's got too small for him, so we moved to a bigger location, so we grabbed that. So we're not forcing anything, we're just grabbing it as it becomes available. Trying to create better uses, and the uses are not for us. I'm not saying, hey, I love them in bars or whatever. We're trying to create amenity-based businesses, and if we're not the operator, even better. We're trying to bring operators that want to be there, kind of incubate it for them with subsidized lease if we have to, just to get them going in the right direction. Because I know that if we bring a market full of amenity-based retail to an area that had 87 auto dealers or car dealers, residents are going to come in, going to fill in. When houses become available, they're going to get bought up by owners, by owner-occupants. They're not going to lease them or rent them.
On the retail space that you're doing, what percentage do you operate versus what percentage do you lease to others?
So in the beginning, we'd operate everything, but now we don't. Now we have retailers calling us saying, hey, could you find us a space? I would say right now it is 40-60, but in the beginning it was 100.
40 you operate, 60 others.
We only operate, like, for example, we have a big one we're doing right now, it's a music venue. And we have to operate that because it was by judge order that we maintain it as the operator. Because of our background in revitalization, they didn't want us to sell it for profit. So we have to operate that. But now, if we don't have to operate it, and we can find a tenant, we try to do that.
Is your attraction to something like a vegan restaurant or a brewery primarily, would you say it's primarily because you're able to acquire these properties, redevelop them, and lease them to them at a very good rate? Or is it more the draw from, the surrounding areas, they know that's a good location? Or are you just offering them such a great deal, they go, we'll try it?
So most of the businesses that are coming in now are coming in because we showed a successful model there, right? So we said, look, clearly you can be successful here. Now, if they're coming and we can say, okay, we've proven you can be successful here, and we'll subsidize a lease for you, it's even more attractive for them. And what I do to get businesses there, like the vegan restaurant, for example, I did the build out for her. I did the zoning. I did everything. I streamlined the process to make it easy because I knew we needed her in that neighborhood, right? And that's what you as a municipality should be doing that, streamlining the process, if at all possible. Whatever you guys can do, you should be doing. And now she's there and she's killing it. And I got 5 more places calling me. And we have buildings in that area that we're going to try to fit out for those uses. But it's a combination of both things. And like I said, I'm not a vegan, but I know that there are tons of vegan population in the city, so why not? It's an amenity-based retail operation that is really good, and they ready for this? They just bought a house on that block. They moved in on that block. 2 guys moved to Bermuda or Bahamas or something permanently. She bought the house and moved in. In the Renewable lot, or in the Renewable, that brownfield, one of the buyers is a hedge fund manager from New York, and he got transferred to Cherry Hill. And he lived in New York his whole life, and he hated living in Cherry Hill. So he said, I gotta get to the closest city. Why did he buy in Renewable? Why do you think? One specific amenity. He told me, in New York, I had the best coffee shop in New York within a block. That's why he bought that house. So those amenity-based retail operations have such greater economic impact on the neighborhood than any dollars invested in it. That one single coffee shop has a much greater economic impact than if I had built 50 houses in that neighborhood. It just does. People want to live around. I always say, and very basic terms, people want to live near cool stuff. It's just reality. It's a single reason he bought that house. He could have moved to Northern Liberties, he could have moved to Fairmount, he could have been any one of these well-established neighborhoods he bought because of that shop.
It's called third space.
What's that?
It's called the third space. Everybody has their workspace, their home space, and that third space where they socialize. And that's what you're providing.
And, you know, like I said, there's significant, you go to the ball game, you can walk to the ballpark, you can be in Center City in 2 seconds. Those things were always there, yet nobody was moving there, right? So, anything else? Thank you.
Let's give John a round. I really appreciate it coming out. Hopefully we have some ideas that kind of sink in through here, and you know, anything that I can do to help Morrisville along, I'm going to do it. I will look into that DCD with that bird. And seriously, my son is a great big baseball fan. I take him down to that park with his friends 3-4 times a summer. I come right down through Morrisville, right over that park. Now, if I could stop at a brewery here, I'd be here 4 hours earlier and Ubering over. No, in all seriousness, you understand, that's the goal. Why aren't people from, this is Newtown, Doylestown, New Hope, Langhorne, are coming right through your town. They're not stopping, and there's nothing over there. Kathmandu or whatever, I'm not, it's not a nightclub, so they're not stopping here where they would stop here. I mean, that's how close you are to that. And that's one of those little areas that John was talking about. You're gonna get that draw. They'll say, hey, let's go down to Morrisville first, go to the ball game later, and then, then head home. And that's kind of what I think would be good. Now, what can you guys do as a municipality? There's a line I always see there. I was on Borough Council, remember. So in Doylestown, there's a line of what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. If somebody comes in and that brewery says, all right, what about this one-way street going this? They want to talk about a new traffic pattern or something. That's something that you guys should look at. You can't just dismiss it. You go, wait a minute, we'll look at it. Now, if it doesn't cause too much disruption to everybody else, maybe we can work that in. When they start saying they want the borough to take a 10% stake in the brewery, no. There's a line at which you're not to get involved, but there is a line that really you can help when somebody comes up with the ideas. And when they throw something at you, the first thing you do is you look at it. And if it's not going to fit for the borough, I'm not telling you to get all the residents mad at you by putting something in you don't want to do. But if you can get it done, and it's something that helps the borough, as you were saying, you streamline it. You have those special meetings, you get through the zoning, you get through the inspections, and you get it done as quick as possible. I did it in Doylestown. I made those votes saying I'm going to waive the fees here because we got to get some stuff done because we were in a bad spot. In the late 1980s, early 1990s, there was a lot of vacancies up in the borough, and we had to do something to make some pretty drastic changes. So that's what I'm talking about doing, and if I can help in any way, please reach out to me. I will get on that brewery. What's the name of the brewery? You're actually telling me news tonight that they're...
I'll email.
Okay, yes, you want to say it in public? All right, so I'm looking forward to that. Is there any other questions of me before we put up?
I know liquor licenses are a glitch. It seemed like always before you had to either buy one from a place that was closed down and transfer. What's the process that our borough would have to do potentially to get one, or make it easier to get it?
I changed that law in 2002, so you might have a historical precedence of it.
I haven't opened up a restaurant, so I'm curious if it's still that difficult, or is it?
No, there are 1,200 liquor licenses in safekeeping right now, and I changed it that you can move them around within any county. So I know there's a few down in Bristol that are like, they're sitting in safekeeping from Bristol, so you would buy them and then you would move it in. Now remember, the municipality, this is, because I was a council person, and I put that in there, I said the municipality has to approve that transfer in. So that's something else that your town would say, all right, wait a minute, we want that liquor license to be seated there, we're not objecting to it, it's not close to the school, it's not close to the playground, I will approve that to come in. So when you bring one in, there's a role for your municipality that has there. But there are liquor licenses around the county that you could buy and bring in. And I haven't had, there's a few people that were complaining but it's really the town didn't want any more. You know, I couldn't get a liquor license, I think it was King of Prussia. Well, the last license went for $1 million in King of Prussia, but they won't allow anyone more to come in. So that created that market to go up. You see what I'm saying? So that the town, so you can only buy within that town at that point. So there really are liquor licenses for any town that wants them to come in. If you really need one, there's an economic development license that I can get you. It's they apply for it, they bring it in, it's $50,000, it's non-transferable. Municipality has to be involved as well for that, but that's a new license that we could get in if you really couldn't get one from any place else to come in.
How hard is it to establish a train station in the town? Because I think that would be, we're the first stop.
Yeah, it's on my radar to try to get that back. I think that a revitalization effort in Morrisville would help me immensely in getting SEPTA to start looking at that again. I will.
That's an area that's not, the train track area right now is a blighted area. It looks horrible. The train, Amtrak does not maintain it well. It's filled with garbage, so it's blighted. So I think we're the first stop in Pennsylvania. I think it would be great if we could have a train station here, because then you have the people traveling between the two cities. This could be a stop for them.
Yep, and that is, put it this way, there's another town that I represent called Percy, up in the upper end there, and they're going through the same thing. They want that train stopped, they want that back line to go down to Lansdale. They're undergoing something similar in a revitalization. A little further along the way, they're bringing in some projects that are being built already. They got Morrisville Brewery. It's all happening there, and SEPTA is doing that study right now to bring that line up there. Now, there's always that problem of electric, you know, everything's electric now, and that's pretty much why it got closed, I think. Well, I know that's why it got closed there. Is this electric here?
There's an existing.
So it's already there. So it's just a matter of a feasibility study of the ridership of whether or not this stop would matter, and that's a revitalization effort is going to help making that case to have SEPTA reopen that train line.
Just kind of piggyback on the revitalization idea and something that Dr. Grants.
Yes.
I know that, for instance, just doing it's the R7.
I don't want to be the you know, raining on the parade. You don't really need the planning grant. What you really need is an open mind to have them make those sales pitches to you. Now, you will need a planning grant if you're going to start doing that, like the streetscapes, or you're going to do, yeah, all right, yeah. So then yes, I can help you with that, and I can help you with the park and the natural gas tax that we have right now, the impact fees money that comes in through Going Greener, all those sort of efforts. I can help you get that done, but that doesn't revitalize the town.
Just
I mean,
part of it.
they're nice. Pocket parks are nice, but that's not that third space that's really going to want to make people change it. You know, that's something that you do as a town and a state after to address a growing population and fix that as it comes. So yes, it's kind of a two-track situation. Bring the revitalization in, and then decide from where they build those houses. Well, you want to put the pocket park near that. You don't put the pocket park and then hope they build the houses there.
Right.
What we need, right now, we just got the grant to do we have a blockage here on Bridge Street, over the canal, and you can't continue on the path. And right now, they're climbing up and going across the state road at a very dangerous angle. So we've got to.
What's blocking the path?
The bridge. The water goes under, but you can't take a bike or
Right.
walk. The towpath doesn't go, which is the trail. So we just got $60,000 to do the plans, and then we'll need construction money to build up and make it across.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking to you about.
Yeah, that's kind of not the subject tonight, but yes, I will help you with that. Rose from Representative Sarah's office, like to ask a question, or just wave? Oh, Rose is here. Everybody give Rose a hand.
Just will say that we're happy we work together, our offices, and it is a group effort, and it makes all the difference when everybody's kind of heading in the right direction, the same direction, and I think there's a lot of potential happy to work.
Thank you. Question back there?
So what we need is to have the cigarette tax be raised so that cigarettes are more expensive.
Well, again, as someone who's voted for that cigarette tax to be raised a few times, but we're getting off subject here, but I'll throw it back out. Every time I raise it, and you have the multi-million dollars that first year, and then in the future years, it keeps dropping off, because people find other ways. The Philadelphia tax, I think it's like $5 or something, it's not generating the money that it was when it was $1 anymore, because of the way it's doing, but that's.
The problem is, it's cheaper to buy cigarettes here than Jersey.
Oh, I see, for this thing.
That is why.
The cigarette, I get it, okay. I thought we shifted to a state policy issue. All right, the cigarette issue, I think, listen, and is John still here?
Yes.
Hey, John, those body shops, were they leased body shops, or did you buy them from the owners that were actually the owner of it?
All the ones we did for owner.
So you owner. So here's one more question for you: is if we have a lot of cigarette shops that are leased, they're being rented right now. But if this was to change the economic climate, those rents are going to go up, and those cigarette shops are going to be replaced by somebody who's going to pay more for that rent. So it's not just the cigarette tax that's going to fix that. I think the revitalization of the downtown would force them to move somewhere else to a cheaper location, because they're not, you can't suddenly charge, the only way they're staying in business is by having low cigarette prices. They can't raise the cigarette prices to match the rents anymore.
Who is in charge of municipal zoning? Could you do a zoning overlay that doesn't permit that use?
It's a fair use issue. It'd be really hard to try to ban a certain segment of it. I think it would take care of itself if the rents were to suddenly rise and they couldn't afford to. Put it this way, it's real simple. That bar and a restaurant's going to pay more for that square footage than that cigarette shop. If it's a public nuisance issue, then you can, but you're going to have you'll end up in a lawsuit, and don't waste money on lawyers fighting lawsuits on zoning overlays to ban certain segments of the business communities. With that, I know it's getting late. Any last question? Then I want to thank Borough Hall. I want to thank the school board for attending, and all the civic and community leaders here tonight. It's important that everybody kind of get in the same page and go in the same direction. It makes it a lot easier for me, because I don't like to choose between one part of the room and this part of the room. If you're asking me to help you with a grant for something, it's a lot easier when everybody gets together and says, get this grant, do this for us, and I can get it done. So thank you so much. Appreciate you coming out tonight.